All right. Well, hello. Oh, this is significantly worse quality, but that's okay. Um, this is actually going to be a very short stream because if, as my good friend Zoe has pointed out, if there is anything that I've been emphasizing throughout this entire live stream process and me doing this project, personal project of mine, is that you above all need to focus on yourself and your own personal energy and the amount of personal effort you want to put in. And so the result is that I am positively exhausted, not for any particular reason, but the weather has been particularly cloudy today in these past couple of days, and I'm just personally not feeling 100%. Um, at least not 100% enough to talk at a camera by myself for an hour. So instead, a good friend of mine, again, Zoe, has recommended that I do some other things. But first, I would like to make some small commentaries just so that I remember this whenever I go back to look at the archive of these videos. Is that um I'd just like to make it known formally and completely. Hi Natasha, how are you doing today? Um I would just like it to be pointed out that my boyfriend's mom, who interrogated him about me today, as it seems, really likes my given name, Polina, which it's a great, it's a great name. I'm not gonna lie. Thank you for my name. Love it. Not gonna lie. But also has decided that now my name, she's gonna refer to me as Polly, which I am big fight about. Unhappy. 0 out of 10. Not a fan. Generally not on board with this. So that's 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 an annoyance of mine right now. That's a big annoyance of mine right now. Also, I'm continuing work on my sweater, which is very far along at this point. I'm gonna Here it is. Here's the start. I'm very excited. It's gonna be super cute, super great. Um, and so instead of actually putting together a full hour of talking for you, I have some alternative ways you can spend your hour that you typically dedicate to listening to yours truly. This is in the form of a number of documentaries that I personally have seen and deeply enjoyed, and hopefully you will find at least some enjoyment or find something that you will enjoy on this list. I listen to a lot of political, a lot of history, um, and so I tried to pick up a large variety of different things, or a reasonably large variety of different things, so that everyone finds something that they might enjoy. If you have seen something already on the list, maybe there's something else that you haven't seen. And so first one that I highly recommend is Hello Privilege, It's Me, Chelsea, which is a documentary on Netflix about white privilege, specifically in the US, but also um, it's also but also white privilege is universal. So please make sure to check yourself, remember yourself, and just it's a good documentary, very good. Secondly is Tigers of Scotland, which talks about the wildcats that are present in Scotland. Fascinating, glorious, very pretty. If you love cats as much as I do, which all of you do, because we wouldn't be friends if you didn't love cats. Please, it's wonderful. Then the third, all of these are right now on. I know for a fact all of these are on Netflix. Um, the Tigers of Scotland one might be just a UK thing, but who knows? Not I. Then there's Liberated, the New Sexual Revolution, which talks about modern conceptions of sexuality, gender identity, and other stuff like that, specifically how college students interact with it. Fascinating as well, given that most of us are um, how do I say this? given that most of us are college students. Then Our Planet. If you have not seen Our Planet, a documentary on Netflix everywhere, go see it. It's 4 episodes, 50 minutes long. It's absolutely gorgeous, breathtaking. Also, a very good reminder of climate change and the fact that it is real, and that even though you as an individual cannot do anything to stop it, we as a collective, as the human race, can in fact do quite a bit, including, eat the rich. But continuing on, Night on Earth is also phenomenal, also beautiful, and explores what most documentaries just physically can't explore, given the limitations of videoing at night. Then, then there's a separate series on Netflix called Explained. If you have not taken a look at that yet, please do. The episodes are 20 minutes each, and they've like factually talk about a lot of different concepts. My personal favorite, and the one that I highly recommend everyone watch again on on a fairly controversial topic, is why women are paid less. This is the one that I especially recommend. If if you're no matter who you are, if you're not well versed on the gender gap, and a variety of other things, it's a fascinating, very insightful, um, very insightful episode that even like, well, even but I definitely learned a lot of stuff from. Then there is the entirety of the Patriot Act with Hassan Minaj, who is a comedian. Um, Phenomenal. Please watch it. It talks a lot about politics, a lot about corporations, capitalism. It challenges plenty of stereotypes. Generally phenomenal. Go watch it. Please educate yourself. Please listen. Also, please support non traditionally underrepresented comedians. Definitely worth it. Very good. Overall, just cannot say enough good things about this man, and the show. Just flat out peak. Um, then I was recommended by somebody else a BBC documentary called Birth of a Language. And so if you're interested in linguistics, which I, as a bicultural bilingual person, I definitely am. This is this is also super fascinating, and it definitely talks a lot about English, specifically the English language, but in generally how we communicate. I have not seen this one personally. I cannot vouch for it, but I know there is at least the first episode up on YouTube. If you Google it, that is available. If you don't want to put in the effort into watching something, I also have a number of reasonably educational podcasts to also enjoy. Firstly, I will PR this as far and wide as I possibly can. Always, anytime I talk about podcasts, Myths and Legends is a phenomenal podcast that is inclusive of different cultures and different locations' myths, and he does a lot of research to present to you the most accurate version of the myth, the most accurate, the most original, most makes sense version of any myths, well, myths and legends, from around the world. One of the latest ones is actually um, like a number of Slavic myths that I grew up with that I definitely recognize when he started talking about them. So there's probably stories and fairy tales that you know and that you've listened to, and I highly, 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 highly recommended. Just to put on in the background, learn some more, like, learn the original King Arthur myths. If you wanted to learn something new, take a look at any of the uh, and well, yeah, any myths that you don't immediately recognize, take a look at those. I've definitely learned a number. It's called Myths and Legends. Um, Great podcast. It's on Spotify. I think it's also on iTunes. Yeah, the myth one, Myths and Legends. It's called Myths and Legends together. Um, it's on Spotify. It's on iTunes. Just mwah. I will also probably put all of this into the description sometime. maybe today, maybe tomorrow, maybe whenever, but very good. Then then separately, if you generally want to better yourself and better your physical skills, skill sets and things like that, there is NPR has a number of wonderful, 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 wonderful um, podcasts. The first one that I really, really enjoy is Life Kit, which talks about things like buying a car or plumbing or choosing a therapist and various things like that that people don't really talk about, that you're supposed to technically, you think you need to learn from your parents, but then your parents don't know, and it'll Life Kit. It works great, lovely, highly recommend it. um, then there's also separately another NPR podcast called Planet Money. So if you're fascinated about things like economics and how marketing works, Planet Money was the podcast that I listened to on my commute on the Moscow subway this past summer. Um, it was one of my favorite episodes by them was about how the I the title I wouldn't call it a title, but why the stereotype, that's what it is, the stereotype of the Subaru being a lesbian car, like lesbians drive Subarus, right? um they have like a really good breakdown, and that turns out that Subarus actually actively targeted lesbians in their marketing. So it became like the car for lesbians. It was fascinating. um then on the topic of history, if you like history, I have two more podcasts for you. Two. I don't know. There's two more podcasts for you. The first one is Stuff You Missed in History Class, which is a lot longer, like much more in-depth discussions. They have episodes from 5 minutes to 15 to 20 minutes, and then episodes that are like 45 minutes, an hour-ish long. So a variety of different things to choose from, different lengths. So you can learn about things like, oh, I don't know what Da Vinci made his paints out of, or one of them was that about Genghis Khan and if he actually massacred like 5 million people in um, also massacred 5 million people in however long time. Um, then also the another one is called the History Chicks, and they talk about, as the name might suggest, they talk about under women who are not, you know, are not popularly discussed in history books, given that we know that history is very male centric and that most women and most female achievements have been in fact erased. Uh, for example, the advancements and the work of Dr. Marie Curie, or Rosalind. Um, oh my goodness, I'm blanking out her name. Somebody help me. The woman who actually took a photo of the, like, also actually figured out the double helix structure of the DNA. Her name is Rosalind something or other, and I cannot remember her name for the life of me. But um, it was thought for a really long time that men actually discovered that. When, fun fact, it wasn't. It was Rosalind. So things like that. So yeah. Also on Disney Plus, there's, if you have, yeah, it's that. Yeah, it's a French last name. She's fascinating. There's a at least like two documentaries that I've personally watched about specifically that entire fiasco. So if you look it up and you're interested, there's plenty of information online about her now, but you have to actually actively like look up, which I find a little unfortunate. But there's also on Disney Plus, if you're one of those fancy people with a Disney Plus subscription, a documentary called Before the Flood, which again talks about global warming and seems like a good family friendly film to watch, to remind everyone again to that we as a collective can affect change. We as we as individuals cannot. And so we have to act as a collective, as a unified body, to, protect the environment, protect our rights, protect our livelihoods. Um, and so yeah, this was specifically, well, the extent to the extent of my um as my as some family friends would put it, my politically correct um podcasts, and podcasts that challenge the norms and stereotypes, come from the numerous discussions I've had this week about feminism, um, racial discrimination, um, the again, discrimination against those of non-traditional sexual and gender orientations, and things like that. And so I feel that, in part, given that I have access and understanding of these resources, I should share my knowledge and my capabilities. So please do. But honestly, yeah, that is honestly all I have to say for the time being. If you don't have the energy to deal with things that are sad, bad, and crappy, and generally unfair, like most of us don't, that is okay. That is absolutely fine, which is why, there's a number of non-committal, very, very relaxed, very pretty, very good podcasts and documentaries in the list that I recommended. Also, if you find your own, please share them with me. I would love to see them. I have suddenly a whole new large set of time on my hands, which I don't know really what to do with. Then also, if you have, um, again, continue to implore everyone to be creative for yourself, generally take care of yourselves, sleep, do not judge yourselves, and do not judge others for the way they're responding to this, again, unprecedented, challenging, difficult, scared, frankly terrifying situation. Because first of all, we're all in this together, and we I would not be nearly as sane as I am right now if it wasn't for all the people around me putting an effort into me. And so, just again, a reminder that to be nice is what I'm trying to say. I would love to again see your projects. I would love to, if you're, I don't know, knitting, crocheting, whatever, trying your hand at a new project, new hobby. Um, I would love to see it. I would love to hear about it. I would love pictures. I would love always pictures of your pets. I will send them around to all of my friends as well, because that's what I've been doing, because everyone needs pictures of fluffy cats at this point. Everyone does. Um, and so, yeah, that is all I have for today. Thank you for joining me for these 18 minutes of recommendations and pettiness and general life updates. I hope all of you have a lovely evening, and lovely next week. Next week, I will come back to you with a full length feature. Um, oh, also, all the Ghibli movies are on Netflix, and Avatar: The Last Airbender is now on Netflix. So, if you don't want to watch anything educational and you just want to binge, Ghibli movies, Avatar: The Last Airbender, both phenomenal, amazing. Go watch them all. It's great. Just if you have opinions, I've seen all of them. I will happily cry with you about Princess Mononoke, like always, happily. Okay, and now, um, again, I wish everyone all my love, all my happiness. Please stay safe. Please take care of yourselves. Please take care of your loved ones. Take care of your pets. Take care of your friends. Call call someone you haven't in a while. Just pick up the phone and actually physically call. Hear somebody's voice that you haven't heard in a while, because I think that's part of what's making me insane, is that I've heard the same people over and over, and I haven't been hearing as much background noise. And I hope that, you know, I don't even hope. I know we will get through this, and everything will in fact turn out fine. And so, again, all my love, and see everyone next week.